What is up everyone, and welcome to some more F123 My Team Career Mode. Last time out we were at the Belgian Grand Prix, and despite the fact that we were looking pretty good in qualifying, I made a little bit of an error which caused us to start P10 for the sprint. We had a pretty poor sprint and failed to finish in the points, and we took a 10 place grid penalty for the race, which meant that we started about P18 if I remember correctly, and we actually finished lower down than that. We really just couldn't find the pace whatsoever in Belgium, so I'm hoping that here in ZANDVOOrt we're going to be able to bounce back a little bit and maybe get into the points this time, or at the very least not finish basically plumb last. The only driver we beat in Belgium was Nick de Vries. So yeah, that is going to be something that we're going to have to improve basically ASAP. We need to get some of these upgrades on the car. Unfortunately, I think one of them has already failed, but we do have another one that's due to be coming onto the car sooner rather than later. Yeah, you can see on the 24th, just before the Dutch Grand Prix, it should be there. We've also got a power unit upgrade, courtesy of Renault, who are our engine suppliers. And yeah, we're going to be scheduling all of these activities actually, because we have time to do all of them. So yeah, that's good. It means we're going to get some bonus team acclaim, driver acclaim, and some aero morale as well, which is nice. And yeah, now we've just got to get through this marketing event about sending Hauger on an expenses paid trip or something like that, and I basically am just saying, well, you know, Hauger's not the only person who works really hard for the team, so no. Unless everyone else is going. Unfortunately, our engine upgrade, our ERS upgrade, has also failed, and I don't think we have enough resource points to reinvest in it at the moment. So that's really annoying. That means it's probably not going to come onto the car until maybe even after the Italian Grand Prix, which is the next race now. Which yeah, I was kind of hoping that we would be able to have it on the car in time for Monza at least, you know, a place which ERS is very, very important, but it just doesn't seem like that's going to be the case, and we're just going to have to hold on and make do with what we've got, I think, which is a shame. It seems like all the cars around us are really starting to develop quite quickly at the moment, and we're kind of being left a little bit in the dust compared to everyone else. We're slowly developing all the areas of our car. However, there is a real chance that if we don't get on top of this development soon, we are really going to be falling behind compared to everyone else, and that is really the last thing I want. But I don't know if I'm going to have much of a say in the matter by the looks of things. So yeah, we're just gonna have to do what we can and hope for the best, and hope that we can at least contend for some points in the last 8 or 9 races of the season.
And Nico Hulkenberg. What an incredible practice session. The fun doesn't stop here though. Join us again as the rest of the weekend unfolds.
Yeah, unfortunately, things didn't start on the best of terms as we finished P21 in practice. We really didn't look very good there. You know, we did do some slightly different programs, which probably meant that we were slower than the sort of raw pace of everyone else. You know, I did the fuel management program and stuff like that, which obviously you lift and coast during that. Would I have been a little bit faster if I hadn't done that? Maybe, yes. But, you know, we can make that kind of argument for lots of different things. So we get the resource points necessary to redo this upgrade that failed before. We also have the possibility to do another chassis upgrade. However, we just don't have quite enough resource points to do that at the moment, so we'll probably invest in that one next video, I imagine. And now it is time for us to get into qualifying for the Dutch Grand Prix. This is, of course, a track that we all know I like quite a lot. I've won here in previous years' games on multiple occasions, and whilst I'm not anticipating that we're going to be picking up our first win, or well, it's not our first win, it would be our second win of our career, but I don't anticipate that we're going to be picking up the win here today, just based on the level of the performance of our car and whatnot. I still do believe that there exists a chance for us to get some, you know, some decent points and try and cement ourselves in P6 in the Constructors' Championship. Our nearest rivals are McLaren. They're about 25 points away from us, so yeah, we'll see what we can do to keep them at bay. Our first run here on a fresh set of soft compound tyres was a 109.8. And yeah, that wasn't going to be good enough to get us through. Actually, we were down in P17 come the end of the session, and so yeah, I'm gonna have to hope that that this lap is good enough. As we cross the line, it's a 109.2 this time. Is that good enough to get us through to Q2? Yes, but only in P13 actually. So yeah, perhaps requiring a little bit more pace if we want to get our way through to Q3 and score some points. It doesn't look like we're as strong here as I was hoping we would be. You know, pretty much everyone in the top 10 was in the 108s there, and we were not. Meanwhile, we were only 7 tenths ahead of Dennis Hauger, 7 or 8 tenths ahead of Dennis Hauger, and he was out, along with De Vries, Sargent, Stroll, Piastri, and Fittipaldi. So a couple of surprise exits there. Piastri is a nice one because it means that McLaren are going to have a hard time catching us in the Constructors. Stroll, perhaps a little bit of a surprise, given that his teammate is currently leading the World Championship as well. But yeah, we're just going to see what we can do. We're on a used set of soft compound tyres to kick off Q2, and we cross the line to do a 1:10.1. So yeah, that is not fantastic, and definitely will require some significant improvement from that. Probably about a second or so if I want to make it through to Q3. You can see we're all the way down in P15 off the back of that lap time, but we are 5 tenths up on Max Verstappen at the moment. So hopefully that lap time that we're going to do now will be good enough to get us through. We'll see whether or not it is going to be enough to take us through Q3 as we round the final corner now. We're going to come on the run up to the line, improve by 9 tenths. It is a 1:09.1, and that is good enough to put us in P9. So we do just about get through to Q3, even though it didn't look like it at times. We have somehow managed to worm our way through there, as Carlos Sainz, our rival, actually goes fastest. So I'm feeling like this rivalry might be a bit more difficult than I thought. Pierre Gasly is through, which is surprising given how bad the Alpines are at the moment. And the eliminations are Albon, Tsunoda, Verstappen at his home Grand Prix is out, along with Magnussen and Norris, as well as Ocon, who failed to set a time. So both McLarens in P15 and P17, very nice for our chances of staying ahead of them in the Constructors' Championship. But yeah, Max Verstappen, the big surprise there, at a race that he would be hoping to win, I'm sure. Just looks like he just didn't have the pace, but meanwhile his teammate did get through, so yeah, he's going to be fuming about that. As we cross the line on another used set of soft compound tyres to kick off Q3. It's a 1:09.7 that we do on this occasion. Actually not a terrible lap in itself, but it was only good enough for P10. We will have to find a bit more improvement if we want to get anywhere above P10. Maybe at least get ahead of Joe and Gasly in the Alfa Romeo and Alpine, respectively. I don't know if we'll be able to beat the Ferraris, the Red Bulls, Alonso, or the Mercedes. Those guys are probably all a little bit too fast. But we round the final corner. We're about 5 tenths up. Where's it going to be? It's going to put us in a 1:09.1, and that is good enough to place us P8. Okay, not atrocious, and definitely a place we can fight for points from.
And with qualifying complete, let's review our top 3 today. Russell, Bottas, and Fernando Alonso. Goodbye for now then, but we are really just getting started. Make sure you join us again for Lights Out tomorrow.
It is a Mercedes front row lockout on this occasion. Russell from Bottas, as they're quite comfortably ahead of everyone else. And yeah, if I'd have found about another 10th there, I would have been maybe P4 as well, ahead of the Ferraris. So it just goes to show how much those small margins make. There was definitely some improvement on that lap. I generally didn't really feel that comfortable around this track. As a place that I have said before I do really like, on this year's game, I just can't seem to quite find the flow around this track. It really seems like, you know, some of these corners I just don't quite take properly. I just don't carry enough speed through them. Maybe my entry angle is a little bit not quite what it should be. I don't know. It just it just doesn't seem to be clicking with me so far this year. You know, even in the league race I did at the weekend, it still didn't really click for me quite the way I would have wanted it to, which was, yeah, very, very frustrating. But yeah, we can only do what we can, and we're going to be starting from P8, so hopefully we can, like I said, contend with some of the cars around us. I don't know whether it's going to be possible or not, but yeah, we will see if we can make our way up the order as we get into the Dutch Grand Prix.
We're on the coast of the North Sea at ZANDVOORT circuit, 25 miles outside of Amsterdam. We're all set for the Dutch Grand Prix, a race that the greats have won at, including Jim Clark, who took the biggest trophy home here on 4 occasions. ZANDVOORT circuit then, 14 corners, 10 to the right and 4 to the left, with plenty of steep camber and elevation changes to keep our drivers on their toes throughout the 2.6 mile lap. And watch out for cars making use of the DRS zone into turn 1 to overtake. Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. George Russell will begin today's event in pole position. And Valtteri Bottas will line up alongside. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Fernando Alonso, Sainz, Leclerc, Perez, Hülkenberg, Robinson, Joe, Gasly, Albon, Verstappen, Magnussen, Norris, Ocon, Fittipaldi, Oscar Piastri, Stroll, Sargent, De Vries, Hauger, and Yuki Tsunoda. It's almost time for those 5 red lights to go out then. Let's see who can prevail today. And we welcome Natalie Pinkham to the Combox once again. Nat, it's great to have your company for this one. We can't enjoy the weather here in the box, but the fans can. A word for their support today.
There has been an exponential growth in the popularity of Formula One, and it is fantastic to see. This is the glue that's bonding families together. This is the talking point on a Sunday afternoon as they sit round and watch the race as a unit. I love the fact that people are starting to appreciate the various nuances of the sport, the fact there are so many layers to it. This is the cutting edge of technology, but there's also so much personality and sacrifice, personal sacrifice, that gets drivers and race teams where they are today.
Okay, here we go. I know what you can do. Don't let me down.
It is going to be a medium-hard strategy for us today. I was contemplating whether I thought that was the right strategy to be on, to be honest, because it did look like the mediums were going to wear out quite quickly. But I guess I can always go onto the hards earlier if it needs to be that way. We'll see what happens. But yeah, 18 laps on the mediums seems a bit extreme. We still need more tyre wear upgrades, I would say. It seems like we just wear them out a little bit faster than everyone else at the moment. And once they're worn out, we can't seem to find the traction anywhere near as quickly and efficiently as the cars around us can. But yeah, we get a fantastic parking there, and I'm going to see if we can pile some pressure on Hülkenberg and maybe also Sergio Perez as we get ready for the lights. I'm hoping that we can score some good points here, but we'll see what we can do as the lights come on and the lights go out. And we get a good getaway compared to Nico Hülkenberg. It definitely looks like we're going to be jumping him, maybe Sergio Perez, although he moves to cover us off, unfortunately. So we just have to back out of that one a little bit. And yeah, that is us up into P7. But we're dueling with Nico Hülkenberg. We're in wheel to wheel as we go through the next sequence of corners. I just squeezed him out as we go through turn 3, and as we come through this hairpin, this banked hairpin, it does seem that we have definitely made the move on Hülkenberg, but we're only up into P7 so far. We're going to see if we can pile some pressure on the cars in front, maybe. I think they might just have a little bit too much pace for us, possibly. And yeah, we'll see what we can do to stay with them. We're going to try and push hard on these tyres. I know we're probably going to end up taking a lot of life out of them, but you know, I feel like maybe the play for us was simply to just go on the most aggressive strategy we could and try and take as much life out of the tyres as we could to contend with the cars around us, because I don't think that once the tyres go off we're going to be able to race with these guys at all. I wouldn't be surprised if maybe we lose ground to some of the cars behind, especially those on soft compound tyres, if they can take the best out of their tyres as well. In practice our tyre wear was pretty close to average, but I just can't help but feel like my personal tyre wear at this track is slightly higher than the AI is going to be. That is the way I usually run around here, and that's why I feel like it's important to get more tyre wear upgrades on the car. But we've got, I think, all the ones we can get for now. Lap 4 now, as we move through the race a little bit, and you can see I've actually broken away from Nico Hülkenberg and his DRS range, and I managed to stay in DRS range just about to Sergio Perez and the cars in front. So yeah, that is fantastic. Going to show that we really are looking actually pretty pacey around here. But we're just not close enough to close down Perez in the DRS zones at the moment. We don't really have the battery to fight this. So yeah, we're just kind of sticking with him, trying to use him to keep us ahead of Nico Hülkenberg. However, once he breaks away, it's basically an eventuality that Nico Hülkenberg was always going to overtake me. He's in a much faster Haas, which is still a pretty solid car this season. You know, definitely a points contender at least. And yeah, that is us losing out to Hülkenberg. This is Charles Leclerc, currently running in P4, and soon he will be running in P nowhere, because he is out of the race. The race is over for Leclerc, and that is going to promote us back up to P7, and will promote everyone else up one position as well. But we weren't P7 for long, because Max Verstappen has now overtaken us as well, and that is us back down into P8. You know, like I said, the soft compound runners were going to start to attack us. I wouldn't even be surprised if, despite the fact he's in an Alpha Tauri, Alex Albon maybe puts some pressure on us as well. And yeah, here he goes, trying to go up the inside of me now as we move into turn 1. Is he going to make the move stick? I don't know. I don't think so. And yeah, somehow we just about managed to keep him behind on this occasion. But how much longer will I be able to do that for? I don't know. We'll find out as we make our way around the final corner to the end of lap 14. I wouldn't be surprised if he maybe gets past us now, but he actually peels into the pits there. I definitely think he would have overtaken us. Verstappen's broken out of my DRS range, and you know, Albon was very close behind me, maybe only a couple of tenths, so I wouldn't have been surprised if he'd got us there. But what that is going to do is cause me to react. And we're actually going to box this lap. I know I didn't activate the thing, but that's because they had a radio message that came up at the exact same time. But we are coming in. We're going to come in and fit the hard compound tyres to the end. I don't want to get undercut too dramatically by the cars around us, so we're going to try and do everything we can to prevent that from happening, even if that means that we have to be on these tyres for a few more laps than planned. They're only hard compound tyres, they will do the distance. Hopefully it didn't screw over Dennis Hauger too much, the fact that I stopped on the same lap that he was planning to. I think he was probably a little bit far behind me, so I'm hoping that it didn't ruin his race too much, but yeah, I guess we'll find out. Between you and me, I doubt severely that he was going to score points anyway, no matter what I did. The car doesn't really hold itself to scoring points at the moment, even for me. I've just been getting lucky on a couple of occasions, and yeah, let's see what we can do. Magnussen's now got past us as well in the DRS zone, as he's on the medium tyres at the moment, and yeah, they just seem to be so much faster than me at the moment. There's basically nothing I can do to keep anyone behind. I don't know why, but it seems like in a straight line we just don't seem to have the speed compared to people. We're not too bad around the corners. I think maybe I've just got the car set up a little bit too high on the downforce or something, because in the straights, even with DRS, even when I'm burning battery, I'm barely closing down the cars in front. So yeah, I feel like the straight line speed is what's really hindering us at the moment. It makes sense, right, I guess, because our engine is also not all that. As you can see, Carlos Sainz now coming out of the pits just ahead of us. We're going to see if we can pile some pressure on him. But yeah, we just don't seem to have the pace in a straight line to contend with them. Lacking engine upgrades, lacking engine power. Meanwhile, we do have all these aero upgrades. I think our aero package is currently the second best on the grid after Aston Martin. So perhaps it comes as no surprise that we just can't seem to stay with them in the straights, even if we are probably at least as fast as them through the corners. And when we set up the car with as high downforce as we have, it's basically no chance. But yeah, we make our way now onto lap 24, and it's just same old story, you know. It looked like Norris was going to attack us there up the inside, and that caused us to go a little bit deep into the corner, and we basically opened the door for Norris, and he walked straight through it, and yeah, he just completely you know, blindsided by Lando Norris there, pushing us out of the points. And yeah, now we're going to have to try and do what we can to get back there if we possibly can. But we're down into P11 at the moment. It's Magnussen and Albon battling in front of us, and that's holding up all three of them, including Lando Norris as well, who we're now going to try and sweep around the outside through the banked hairpin, and we actually managed to make the move stick somehow. Okay, that's the downforce working well for us there, and we make our way back up into P10. So that is a very, very solid overtake coming out from us there. But it doesn't actually really mean anything, because if we ride on board now with Lando Norris, you can see that he is going a little bit slowly, and that's a giant puff of smoke coming out the back of his car. So I would have been up in that position again anyway in a very short span of time, because Lando Norris is out of the Grand Prix, and that promotes us back up into the points, back up into P10, and we'll see if we can hold on to it. However, next lap, it is Zhou Guanyu who ruins my day and makes his way up into P10 once again. We're back down into P11. I really just don't see a world in which we're finishing on the points here based on what we're seeing now. You can see that Pierre Gasly as well seems to have got ahead of us here. We're going to see if we can pile some pressure on him as he's getting held up behind all of these guys. But yeah, it just looks like we're not going to be able to do anything here. Now we're coming under pressure from Yuki Tsunoda, Gasly's former teammate as well. And yeah, that is him up into P12 and us pushed down into P13. We make a bit of contact with him there. No damage. And yeah, it was just basically an overtaking montage at the end there. We just couldn't seem to do anything compared to those guys. They're now 2.5 seconds up the road. I don't know if it was the early stop that did it. It doesn't really make much sense that it would be, because Albon is holding his own in the points. And yeah, we just can't seem to hold him off. And yeah, that is going to be us. Unless Piastri can catch us up by 2.8 seconds, it is going to be us finishing P13 in this race. It's not what I would have wanted at all, but you know, what can you do? We just have to deal with it. We just have to take what we've got and work with it. And yeah, hopefully we can bounce back stronger in Monza.
All right, race over. Take care of the car on the way in.
A difficult race then on a circuit that demands complete concentration, but they've persevered to take the win here today. Natalie, fill us in. What was it that helped the team achieve their success today?
Well, they are very much at one with the car, which is a cliche, but it's true. It's not an easy process, and that work is very much paying off.
And I can see the drivers starting to approach the podium for the victory celebrations. A real team victory today. Everyone played their part. Congratulations then to Mercedes, your race winners today.
And it's finally happened after what felt like an eternity. You know, he had multiple opportunities where things just didn't go his way. Valtteri Bottas has won for the first time since Turkey 2021. It's been 3 years, almost to the day probably, since his last victory in Formula 1. And finally he has picked up another one, flanked by his teammate George Russell and of course the championship leader Fernando Alonso.
Let's see what effect this result has had on the drivers' standings. This result narrows the gap between our championship leader and the rest of the standings. Let's focus on driver of the day, Natalie Pinkham. Come on, who do you pick?
That's got to be the Flying Finn. Wait, how many Flying Finns have we got now? Anyway, I'm talking about Bottas this time. Just great raw speed and a good job in the traffic as well.
It's time to check out the constructors' standings. Red Bull pull further ahead in the standings. Well, what an end to another fantastic weekend of racing. Thanks to everyone who's joined us, and we'll see you for the next one.
So, we are still P6 in the Constructors' Championship, although we have finally been pushed down to P6 in the Drivers' Championship as well, after Kevin Magnussen picked up a few points there to finally jump up back ahead of us into P5. He is having a ridiculously strong season in that Haas, probably one of the strongest seasons I think I've ever seen a Haas driver have in any Formula 1 game. You know, this is the first time I've really seen them, you know, contending for wins and podiums and that kind of thing. Both drivers have had one win this season. I think it was Hülkenberg in Baku and Magnussen in was it France, I think. So yeah, they're both looking like the real deal this season, and it's no wonder that they're currently sitting, I believe, P4 in the constructors, which I wouldn't be surprised if they finish there unless Ferrari really take things up a gear towards the end of this season. For us, it was a really difficult race here. I think that really, you know, we need to get our act together pretty quickly if we're going to finish P6 in the Constructors' Championship, because, you know, there's any chance in the world that McLaren or Alpine or even Alfa Romeo, with the form that they've been showing recently, could have a string of solid results, and all of a sudden it's looking like they're going to be finishing there instead of us. So we can't you know, take our eye off the boil for even a second. If we do, then we're gonna really be in trouble for the chance of getting the sponsorship bonus. So yeah, we just need to try and get these developments on the car. You know, there's some that are absolutely nailed on going to be coming on because they've already failed. There's a few more which I'm hoping won't fail. It seems like we're having them all fail at the moment. We're going to start working on reliability soon as well, because I think after this we're going to have enough money to get that resource point generation upgrade for the reliability department as well, which is yeah, going to be absolutely huge, because I think we've already had 3 mechanical failures this season. I really kind of want to avoid having any more if we possibly can. If we have one more, it's probably not the end of the world, but any more than that, and I think we're really going to be in trouble. You know, after Monza, I do think we're going to have a few races, which I do quite like coming up after that. Japan is one that I am a big fan of these days. Qatar didn't go so well last season due to tyre wear issues. I'm not really sure where we stand with that nowadays. And then what else is coming up? Mexico is a good one for me usually. Texas is a good one for me. Vegas, obviously we got the podium at last year. Brazil is a good one. Portugal is back on the calendar. You know, there's all these tracks that I really do think that we can score some actually really good points at. So yeah, I'm hoping that those go well and that I don't get blindsided by those the same way I got blindsided by our absolutely abysmal pace that we showed in Belgium. But yeah, we'll see what happens as we make our way into the final. I believe it's 8 races of the season left. So yeah, things are finally starting to wrap up, and yeah, hopefully we'll be there in P6 at the end of the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. But that is going to be it for this video. If you enjoyed it, then please make sure you like and subscribe. It really does help me out, and hopefully I will see you in the next one.